Hi everyone, it's your girl Teddi here with a brand new Teddi's Talk Show. Today I will be joined by drag king Edgy Teen, and we're going to be talking about all different types of gender identity and how it was being LGBTQIA in Peterborough, where we grew up. So let me bring him on, Edgy Teen. Thank you so much for joining me today, Edgy Teen. So tell me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how we met, actually. That's always quite fun to know.
Well, out of drag, I'm Phoenix Hart. I live in Peterborough and have done for most of my life. I became very involved with the Peterborough Pride programme, and at one public relations meeting, as it were, I saw Teddi standing in the corner, this 7-foot glittery, just 7 foot and glittery.
Yeah, that was me, actually. 7-foot girl, you've given me an extra foot. I love that already. We love being glamazons that we are. Okay, so today, obviously, as I've already mentioned, we're going to be talking about gender identity. I'm really excited, actually, because it's quite nice to have another member of the queer community to be able to talk about this. I think a lot of people in the local area don't really understand it or don't really know, and I think that's a little bit of like being some people are just ignorant, we know that anyway, but some people just generally, like around Peterborough, because I'm obviously also born and raised in Peterborough, there's not many like signposting or locations where you can go to find out that information without talking to a member of the LGBT community, I don't think. Tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm happy to be told if I'm wrong, don't worry. Let's just add it. So Edgy Teen, you are a drag king, but Phoenix is non-binary, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
And what does non-binary mean? Let's start there.
Well, to put it in the opposite of binary being the traditional male and female. Non-binary is anything that falls in between, whether you're both, a little bit of one, some of the other, or just none at all.
Okay. And your pronouns for Phoenix are they, them?
Yes, I go by they, them, or she, her, because it fluctuates for me. So specifically, I would say I'm gender fluid.
Okay.
Means one moment I could be very masculine, the next I could be very feminine. So it's a weird mess, but we just love it. We deal with it.
Well, I also think though as well, like we are in such an evolving landscape in general that if I think to back when I was your age, which was like 10, how old are you? 17?
I'm 16 now.
16, okay, 16. So, I mean, that was just like 2 years ago for me. No, joking. So if I think back when I was 16, which was like 13, 14 years ago, we were not talking about this. Like, it was sort of only being spoken about if you were gay or lesbian, or you were trans, as in transitioning. And I love the fact nowadays that, and in such a short time, like I was speaking to my grandma who lived in Peterborough when she was like 50, 60 years ago. And she was like, the fact that you've come, not even talking about it 50 years ago, to be able to having this conversation. And then I think about when I was, like I say, when I was your age, we weren't talking about that. And then now just 10 years later, we have all these different identities, all these different, and having a real conversation about your sex that you're assigned and your actual gender identity in general anyway. I think we still have so much further to go.
Definitely.
I think there's so much, and people sort of sit there and go, oh no, but you're all accepted and da-da-da. It's like, no, hen, we're not. The fact that I can put, and I just think about so two things from my world, like doing drag and business. You know, so for those of you that don't know, I run a very large business event in Peterborough called the Peterborough Biscuit. And merging those two worlds, people were like horrified. Like I remember, like we received so many like messages, emails, this isn't right, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. And then you've got the same person be like, yeah, but you're fully integrated. Bitch, if I was fully integrated, I wouldn't be having these conversations. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so how I guess for me, how was it going to school, or sort of when did you know that you were sort of non-binary? That's sort of two questions. Actually, that's not very fair for me to just put it at. So let's just start with the first one. So how did you know that you were sort of non-binary, or did you always feel that way?
Ultimately, you don't really know until you've got that sort of presence in your life, because you can sit in a cave and not know for your whole life. And a few people say, yeah, but it's your choice, you saw someone else, it's just a new trend. It's like realizing that you like a certain type of music after listening to it for the first time. You don't choose to like that music, it's just your natural instinct. But I was, it would have been the second Pride, I think. I got a new friendship group from the youth group Q group, which is still running. And a few of them were transgender, and I'd seen a few transgender people around, and I didn't really know. I just sort of went, cool, you do you. But after getting sort of personal, and even now my boyfriend who's trans, I think really that opened my eyes almost to sort of see what you're born as doesn't define you. It's what you think works best for you and how you want to label yourself.
Definitely. I mean, if I talk about myself, like when I first left sort of Peterborough to go to university, to London, I was thrown in the deep end with sort of all sorts, which included, you know, people that were really out and being gay, you know, trans people, drag queens. And you are right when you say you have to sort of be, I guess, it's a journey. It isn't just, you don't just wake up one morning and go, I know, I really want to, because, you know, it's a hard road.
If like, only it were that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Because again, like I sort of sit there and, you know, I love being who I am and I loved it. But I mean, I've come up with such adversity. It's a hard old road, you know. And I think some people just think that it's this kind of thing of, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be this and that's going to be it and that's all fine. It really isn't. And it's just, and also as well, like, you know, if I speak about my experience just from being gay, like I've had such a loving family. And you know they've been amazing, like even everything, you know, and they were quite conservative parents coming up from, you know, and they were told, you know, when they were young that it wasn't right to do this, wasn't right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they were told when they were 23 that I was going to be this 7 foot according to you drag queen, I'm pretty sure they would have been like, I'm not sure. But you know, we learn, we grow and adapt, and I think also the landscape of life in general has done that as well. So that's really cool. But you are right. I think that you have to sort of experience those things in order to know those kind of things. And yeah, I think me becoming more part of Pride and a big part of my journey as well was the whole thing of RuPaul's Drag Race being such a pop culture thing. It sort of made it okay to go and experiment in drag. Especially for queens. I think there's been some controversy around RuPaul's show allowing all kinds of different forms of drag. There's been quite a big discussion on that, which we won't comment on because that's not what this show is about. We're not being drawn into the drama. Let's just say that. But I mean, because if I think again, if I was your age, doing drag when you're doing drag, there was nothing really for me. You know, I couldn't go on the internet and buy wigs from Amazon. I couldn't go and get all this makeup from, you know, NYX Cosmetics and MAC, and I mean they were around, and obviously yes, you can go do it, but it was very much more suppressed, and you know, it wasn't some. And I remember being in an acting class, and they would go, and they physically said to me, "Oh no, but no, if you do drag, that's the end of your career." And I was like, "Wow, like that's a bit much." But now it's completely flipped, and like actually the fact, and also as well, like for me, I don't know about you, but for me, like Teddi opens doors that my male self wouldn't be able to. Like having all that involvement in Pride, being a spokesperson for LGBT rights, getting across messages to people. Like, I don't think it would have the same gravitas as it would if it was Edward, you know, just sort of staying there in a flamboyant outfit. Because I think sometimes some people can very much just like, oh, well, he's gay, and they just switch that off.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if you're shoving something very controversial, you know, dressing up as a woman, you know, becoming a drag king, you know, having flamboyant makeup, you know, being statement pieces, which is at the end of the day what we really are, you know, being the trophy wives and husbands that we are. But, you know, I think that people then have to focus on that. And they have to be like, well, hold on. Like, okay, I actually have to now listen to this person because, you know, they are doing something different from the norm. So, yeah, this conversation is already so interesting to me. I love it already. So, next question. How has being non-binary at school, how was that? Were you out then? Was it something, or was it something afterwards? If you don't want to talk about it, it's absolutely fine. I'll just talk to myself.
For my secondary school, I went to a very conservative Christian school, and where I was one of 3 people out of the whole school to even be in the LGBTQ community, which meant that I was everybody's gay best friend. Yay, friends, but I'm not that object. But I was more open about my identity with my closer friends, and they all said it's fine, but we all sort of kept that behind closed doors until very recently. Then, is it this year? It's last year. Last year I went to a different school for my sixth form, which is a art school, because I am obviously very artistic. They were very welcoming and inclusive to that, and are actively trying to change their position in it all. And quite recently, having building unisex toilets and new facilities. Which weren't there when we joined, but it's the awareness that a few of us gave to the staff and said, hold on, could we have this? And they're like, yeah, let's do this. This is great. There is still a way to go with the younger years, but they're always going to sort of be the, oh, what, you're a gay or something? It's ridiculous, but if they're going to be like that, you've just got to come back with the snappy responses.
Yeah, I think as well, you know, you have to also look at like, so I mean, very similar story. I was the only gay person or LGBTQIA person in the school, especially in the year, and there was a whole big thing around. They would always just sort of sit there and be like, "Oh, well, you're gay," and I'd just be like, "Yeah, I am, and what?" And it was that sort of for a long time they'd be like, "Yeah," I was like, "Yeah, and like, move on." And you are right, like you are that token, you know, oh, you're going to be my best friend, or, you know, and actually because of that, I was then taken under the popular people's wing, and I was sort of shielded from somebody that necessarily wasn't that way. So I sort of, in a privileged way, check my privilege, but yeah, it's interesting not seeing or not being around a similar tribe. It's something that RuPaul goes on about a lot, actually. But not only that, but like when I went to university, there was a whole bunch of people that were pretty much exactly the same as me. And it was very liberating to being in a group that was like me, that had similar that had similar, that would have, because sometimes I think that sometimes gay humor can be seen as like really crude and dirty and everything else, whereas that's just what it is.
Yeah, it's
like,
just banter.
And sometimes it's just like, oh, well, I can't make that joke around this group of people because they'll think it's like dirty. Whereas when I was with my whole gays at uni, that we would just be cackling and all sorts. And it is that weird, and I think I've never, well, obviously I have had it since, but it's that weird thing of fitting in and belonging and being a part of that, which is really good. And I'm loving the fact that this school has given you has also given you like unisex toilets because you said you wanted them and all that kind of stuff, which is amazing. Because actually, and it is, even though those kids are saying those horrific things, at the end of the day, we're just trying to make it better for them. That's my journey anyway. So, my niece who's 6 or 7, yeah. She, if she ever has if she is one member of the LGBT community, it's just the norm in any situation. That's what I'm fighting for. So let me think about this now. So you are a drag king.
Yes.
So let's just dive into this. Do you think drag kings are represented enough?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I was first exposed to drag kings when Louis Cypher came over to Peterborough for the first Pride. Mm-hmm. I saw bits and clips and thought, that's really great. And I'd been exposed to drag and thought, I could do that easily. This is cool, I could do this. And then I sort of went, hold on, presenting as a girl, that's more personal to me. I can't do that. If I want to do that in my own room or whatever, with my close friends, I'll do that. But how do I put on this show for people and still feel comfortable? And then on the second Pride, which I helped plan with the youth cafe thing, we got a fabulous Josh in and we started experimenting with drag. And I saw this weird military uniform and it just snapped. I've got to be this super gay, manly man, and it's been ever since.
I love that. That's amazing. So it was more, so I'm guessing like for me, I guess for me as well, it was the complete opposite to that. Like I saw these, like for me, all throughout my life, I've always identified with females and like females having this power of like being able to just, ever since I've got into drag, I've had a very different experience dating wise and a very different experience with men. Men they're just different. I don't know what it is. It's magic, clearly, natural born fish. Anyway. And all throughout life, I was like, oh, I wish I could be this, for some reason, a supermodel. I don't know why. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? When I took the dive in and decided to become Teddi, I was like, no, she's going to be this. And it really was, it's almost like for me, it's really interesting that you say about how you didn't want to go femme and do a performance. And I feel very similar that I couldn't do that in a male form. For some reason I have, when I'm performing now, I've got to be as Teddi. I've got to go, she's my political, I am the political standpoint. She really is sort of that armor for me to go and do those things and expose myself in a way that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing in my male form. I mean, we all love to joke around and stuff, and but I mean, for me, and it has been a real big journey for me for that. And that it is interesting actually hearing that from other people, because I just thought it was just like me, like I can't really. But that is an interesting point. And I think also as well, like drag kings as well, just like drag queens. I mean, some of them look absolutely incredible, and you just,
well, thank you.
The most womanly of. You are stunning, anyway, but the most womanly of people, and they can just transform into this most masculine of men, and you just think, wow, like, that is amazing. It's such a craft. And I think as well with everybody's transformations, or characters, or whatever you want to call them, there's such a unique art style to it as well. Like, for instance, you today, you're very much, you've gone very, I'm guessing it's based on flags.
Definitely. I myself.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I think, again, everybody has their own way of looking, and I really like that no two drag performers will ever really look exactly the same, because they'll do something. And I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I looked at who I wanted to be, I've taken a bit from Courtney Act, I've taken a bit from Alyssa Edwards, I've taken a bit from, the Vivienne, I've taken a bit from, all these drag queens that are quite well known, taking a bit from Peppermint, Bob the drag queen, and applying that to me and my face, and being like, no, okay, I'm tweaking, I'm running, I'm doing this, so yeah, and I assume that would be quite similar for you, but I don't know if it's as publicised as
yeah. With drag kings, definitely, there's hardly anyone that's well known. There's 4 or 5 that you'd know, but no others from that. And then all their styles are very one thing, and they're all very similar. And because of that, I think a lot of my stuff has literally just been trial and error, see what makes sense. And I mean, this is barely my 7th time in drag, and yet I've got my style, what I like. Just you try and mess up a lot, but you've just got to stick with it, find what works with you. I mean,
very true. Like, I mean, I've been doing it, well, professionally since October last year, but unprofessionally when I was messing around in my bedroom and going out to clubs as Teddi for about 2 years. And it does take, time to hone the craft. But I mean, you are right. I knew exactly what I wanted to look like. I knew exactly who I wanted to be. I wanted to be hyper feminine. I didn't want to have big eye makeup. I didn't want to have these big eyebrows. I wanted to use what I had as well. I wanted to enhance the features that I had. 1, because I'm lazy. 2, because I got good eyebrows. And I think also, so it just comes down to refining what you have. And once you know what you want, it becomes really simple and really easy to, obviously you're doing that face all the time. And yeah, like I've been looking at the moment actually of, these people that are doing all this, like the blue makeup and the green makeup. And I mean, how it just looks amazing. And the fact that they can go and do that, I'm just like, oh, I really want to learn how to go and do that. Not that I would, I don't think I'd ever go out in it, but like there was one girl who had done her face like a sky, and it was like completely blue. She had a blue wig on. She had like clouds on her face. I was like, that is some dedication. I don't even know if I have a steady enough hand though, getting old, getting shape. But yeah. So to round off the interview today, thank you so much for coming. What would your perfect world be in, say, sort of 10 years?
Well, it's very difficult to say this is everything I want and it's going to be perfect, because perfection is up to the individual. But I think the main thing that I would have is, well, my motto that I live by is, I'll do my thing, you'll do your thing, and let's just have a cup of tea and be friends. I mean, because I can be here on drag, and someone else can be going, well, no, I don't think it's wrong. But I think keep it to yourself. Don't go out and say this is wrong. Just keep it to yourself and go, they can do what they want, I'll do what I want. And I mean,
mind your business.
yeah, exactly. If you want to support it, go ahead. If you don't, stay home.
Yeah, for me, it's always mind your business. Don't come for me without some receipts. You aren't RuPaul, leave me alone. And even then, actually, no, to be fair, if RuPaul told me to do something, I probably would go and do it. But yeah, anyway. Yes, but thank you so much for joining me today, Edgy's team, and of course, Phoenix. And what we will do is, I'll give a link to your, have you got a professional page? You got Instagram?
I do have an Instagram, but it's not professional.
Okay.
I will post my drag on there from time to time, along with some, funny pictures and just other bits and bobs. So it's definitely worth a follow.
I'll tag you in, and then when we get out of this, hopefully we'll be seeing you around the Peterborough scene more. And I think definitely, it was actually a real bad shame about this year's Pride being cancelled, but Corona. So what are we gonna do? Maybe make a vaccine, but I haven't got the tools. But thank you again so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely incredible chatting to you today. Thanks, and we'll see you soon. So that was myself and Edgy team for Teddy's talk show today, talking about all different types of gender identity, and just discussing a little bit of our stories in these eyelashes today, people. I don't even know. Thank you so much for watching once again. We will be back next week with another amazing show. Thank you so much. Keep your eyes peeled for anything about Pride in Peterborough and around the world. We still need your support. Lots of hugs, love, as ever. Teddi, the drag queen, signing off. Bye.